Welcome to this brief introduction to mindfulness practice. So let's begin with a few questions. Have you ever had the experience of being introduced to someone and then almost instantly forgetting their name, or realizing suddenly that you've been running on automatic without much awareness of what you've been doing, whether it's driving a car or doing a chore? Or maybe you've even experienced snacking without paying attention to how long you've been snacking for. And surely there's been a time or times when you found yourself listening to someone with one ear while being caught up in what you'll say next. So chances are you've experienced many of these things. This is what is known as the nature of mind. Funny, scary, mysterious. Our busy minds are worth understanding better. Nowadays it seems more difficult than ever to pay attention because we are bombarded with distractions from almost every angle, particularly with the advent of smartphones. Life also seems to be accelerated, passing us by, moment by precious moment, because we are, you might say, somewhere else, a future or a past that doesn't actually exist. But don't fret, there's hope for getting back in touch with life as it unfolds. There happens to be a way of strengthening our ability to stay present to life just as it is, in the moment. There is a way to engage with now, right now. It is a formal practice that you can engage in both as a formal sitting practice, or standing, or movement, and also as practice that you can engage in during everyday life. This practice can strengthen your ability to recognize when you've been caught up in the future or the past, when you realize reality is occurring right now, and you really should be paying attention to the present moment, like driving a car in stop-and-go traffic, or handling a conflict you'd rather avoid, learning in the classroom, or something as sweet as kissing someone you love, as if for the first time, every time. So when we say, stop and smell the roses, we are really talking about mindfulness practice. And while countless approaches to practicing mindfulness have evolved over time, the central idea is the same. It is elegantly simple and yet really difficult to practice in modern life. In fact, the idea of mindfulness practice, whether you call it focusing, attention, or presencing, is deeply rooted in almost all of the world's religions and is applicable to every experience we encounter in our everyday walking and waking lives. The very word meditation often drums up images of incense, beads, and navel-gazing. For so many, it is a practice of being way out there, a hokey relic from the 60s, and something that just doesn't comport well with the demands of modern life. It also tends to evoke the idea that meditation is a device for achieving or striving toward relaxation by pushing all of our thoughts aside. Mindfulness practice is the furthest from these characterizations. Fortunately for us, on the shoulders of many giants in this discipline, someone has enjoyed great success in translating this ancient practice for modern times. Featured in Time magazine's article titled The Mindful Revolution, Jon Kabat-Zinn identified a gap in the healthcare system where no matter how much medicine attempted to cure or quell physical symptoms of pain, a greater suffering still remained, a subjective dimension of pain, where patients are often trapped in their own narratives of suffering. Jon Kabat-Zinn is an MIT-educated molecular biologist and professor emeritus of medicine and founder of the mindfulness-based stress reduction clinic at the University of Massachusetts Medical Center. Jon Kabat-Zinn offers a secular definition of mindfulness that has gained traction worldwide, aiding publications in empirical journals and application to almost all imaginable corners of society. Jon defines mindfulness practice as an awareness that emerges by paying attention on purpose to the present moment and without judgment, moment by moment by moment. To better understand mindfulness practice, we should probably break down this definition a bit. So paying attention on purpose, what does that mean? What it really means is that we set a firm intention to pay attention. And when the mind wanders off of our object of attention, remembering our intention in a loving and also firm way, and bringing our attention back to that object over and over and over again, and as best as you can, or what Jon Kabat-Zinn says, as if your life depends upon it. And where are we bringing that attention? We're bringing it to the present moment, which means right now. This moment, this very moment and series of moments as you listen to this recording, not the next moment or the moment that just passed, but this moment. One of the most popular ways of anchoring your attention to the present moment as it is observing your breathing as it unfolds in its full duration, breath by breath by breath. This is because the body takes care of breathing for us. We do not have to think in order to breathe. And in this way, we can simply be with the breath in its full duration as it unfolds in the present moment. There are many other ways of paying attention on purpose to the present moment. And mainly these ways are paying attention to the sensations in the body as they unfold, such as what the body hears, feels, smells, tastes, and even the sense of the body as a whole and the space it takes up as you sit still, as you walk, or make other movements one might do in yoga or Tai Chi. The present moment can also be experienced by getting in touch with your overall sense of well-being in the body. In other words, gateways to the present moment are accessible by getting back into our own skin, feeling alive again and again and again through our senses. And if we're getting in touch with the present moment, just as it is, that means we're doing it all without judgment. That means that mindfulness is not a practice of analyzing, conceptualizing, striving to get something and be upset when we don't, like being relaxed or wise. There's no doing whatsoever in mindfulness practice, just the firm intention of being with what is, outside of the stories you tell yourself, which are also judgments about your experience, by the way, or taking notes in your mind about mindfulness experience that you'll have to explore later, and doing this all moment by moment, which may be the most slippery aspect of this practice. Because when we pay attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment, it means we are being all of these things in each and every moment, fully giving ourselves over to the moment as it is, and riding the waves of time, moment by moment by moment. The reason this can be tricky is our very nature of mind. We like to reflect. We like to make sense of things. We often get caught in thought, whether it's about the previous moment, as in, that was a really peaceful moment, and we can get caught in the future, like, gosh, I should do this more often. Already you've departed in a split second from this moment. Mindfulness practice is a discipline. If we think about how difficult it is to stay with the present moment when we are breathing, for instance, just consider how difficult it is to pay attention to more complex situations, like listening to someone else in the moment. So paying attention on purpose to the present moment and without judgment, moment by moment, is an amazingly complex process, but you might sum it all up as a practice of simply being. Just being. Nothing more and nothing less. We can talk about mindfulness until we're blue in the face, to understand it, to conceptualize it, and discover applications for it. But if you truly move beyond simply understanding to truly knowing what mindfulness practice is, your best chance of doing so is to stop talking and start being present. So if you'd like to, you might experiment with tasting mindfulness right now through a brief, guided breathing meditation. So, establishing yourself in an upright and dignified seated position if you care to, you might begin by slowly allowing your eyes to close gently, relaxing the eyes so that the lids rest comfortably upon each other, and just allowing your attention to firmly, and maybe even with a sense of gratitude, include the full duration of your breath. Focusing in on the flowing, gentle process in which your body does the breathing for you, not pushing or pulling air in or out, but rather being with the breath, wherever that sensation is most alive for you. It could be in the belly, or the chest, or the nostrils, and without thinking or analyzing, just flowing with your breath as it unfolds in every moment, moment by moment by moment. Just this breath, just this moment. Just this breath, just this moment. Now it's only been about 15 seconds of silence, but your mind may have wandered 100 different times. Or perhaps you were swept away from your breathing completely across this space. You may have noticed that when your mind wandered, you were hard on yourself, judgmental about your poor performance as a meditator. When this occurs, it's helpful to simply note where the mind has gone, remembering the definition of mindfulness practice, without judgment, just noting the thought or emotion, and then firmly and with great self-compassion, allowing the breath to re-enter your attention because it's already happening, and breathing, just breathing, moment by moment by moment. While we focus in on being with or knowing the breath, we might recognize how mindfulness practice is also a way of cultivating our ability to observe our thoughts, our assumptions, and our attachments in greater awareness, as if we're watching them enter and even consume our minds, and then allowing them to leave our minds, letting go, much like watching lotus petals floating downstream. Rather than being part and parcel of the worries and anxieties we have, we can actually observe them at the banks of this crackling brook we call our stream of consciousness. And when we do, we are better capable of liberating ourselves from suffering and transforming our understanding of who we are and how we are connected, or one we are, with others who suffer just the same. We often refer to this process as compassion. And through this compassion, returning firmly and with gratitude to breathing in the moment, just sitting, just breathing, just this. So if you buy into everything you've heard and experienced so far, you might agree that our thoughts come and they go, but they don't stay the same, and in all reality do not define us. Rather, they take place in a greater space we call awareness, where we're actually capable of being an observer, not the thought. Through this practice, we become increasingly capable of recognizing the nature of mind in everyday life, how not being in the present moment can rob us of true happiness, love, and compassion, and how it can even produce great danger to us, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. There's a very interesting paradox with mindfulness practice. Even though through the practice we are not trying to be relaxed or transform ourselves, these are studied to be really interesting fringe benefits, so to speak. Again, there's no trying to do anything or striving in mindfulness practice, other than setting a gentle and firm intention to simply be. Yet it's still worth talking about what the benefits of mindfulness practice are. Regular mindfulness practice is shown to reduce anxiety, stress, and depression. It's also shown to improve your ability to make better decisions, be more productive, and run more efficiently during the day, even taking on different people's perspectives in an open-minded fashion.